Europe is shaking.
It's red! Old Trafford is roaring! Manchester United, a quarter of an hour away from Derby delight.
That's not an earthquake. That's Manchester United coming back to the race.
Is the Manchester United DNA finally clicking again? And
Manchester United are looking very, very good right now.
Surely Man United now go on to get Champions League football, and then they're going to make life very hard for all of us.
This club belongs in the Champions League.
United are back. United are back.
It's not just any Manchester United. It's the Red Devil of Michael Carrick.
Finds a Bruno in the area. Yes! That is clinical from Manchester United. O'Reilly looks to get the cross in. Dorgu, 2-0. Oh, it's fantastic.
From a team eliminated in the Champions League group stage and sitting 15th in the Premier League, Manchester United are now making a powerful comeback and reasserting themselves as the king once again.
Away from Alejandro Garnacho, gets past him in actual fact to the byline, pulls it back into the area. United in the front. Mateus Cunha clear. Referee blows the full-time whistle. The gap back to 6 is 10 points. A famous victory for Michael Carrick's side.
Well, Manchester United took all 3 points at Stamford Bridge and they beat Chelsea by a single goal to nil. Cunha got it to maintain third position and their hold on Champions League qualification.
If the Premier League started in January 2026, the title race would no longer be just about Manchester City and Arsenal. It would be called the name of Manchester United.
Look at the vibes, man. Look at the difference on your sofas, in the stadiums, in the pubs, when you're supporting Man United when they're flying. My weekend was turned upside down for the right reasons this weekend and last. I see passion, I see enjoyment, I see adrenaline, I see a connection with the fans. I see the players going over and genuinely giving it to the fans and going, that's what we want. We're here for you. We're trying to do everything we can. That's what performances like that give you, man.
No more clumsiness, no more fear when stepping into matches. The aura of victory has found its way back to the theatre of dreams.
Thierry looks to get the cross away. Šeško gets there and he scores! Big bit of strength for that!
Straight back in there towards the far post. Casemiro with a header. And Manchester United are back in this game.
Manchester United are returning to the European stage not through thunderous statements or a grand expedition, but in silence. The Red Devils are coming back with a calm, almost unsettling stability. No need for spectacle, yet impossible to stop.
Actually, breaking news in the last half an hour. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked as manager of Manchester United.
But Manchester United have sacked their manager, Erik ten Hag.
Breaking news, it's over between Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. The Portuguese head coach has been sacked with immediate effect after his explosive rant yesterday.
Manchester United and Michael Carrick have reached a verbal agreement for him to become the interim head coach until the end of the season.
How would you describe the vision, the philosophy, the type of football United are going to play?
We want to win game. I think for me it's working with the players. I love working with the players and helping them and get better and individually, which hopefully will help the team improve and be there to support them. And I'm one of them, you know, we're all in it together, and I think it's important that here we all look after each other and hopefully we can play in a really exciting type of football and be positive and express and bring excitement, you know.
Manchester United's starting point under Michael Carrick was not a glamorous journey or an immediately celebrated rebuild. It began with a team that had spent years struggling with a fundamental question. Who are they in modern football? Their identity kept shifting, stability came and went, and every season carried the pressure to win immediately in order to ease the long-standing doubts left behind by successive managerial eras. Carrick entered that context as a solution aimed more at rebalancing the system than making a revolution. Without noise or big statements, he approached the team in a very pragmatic way, reducing chaos, simplifying roles, and bringing players back to the basic principles of tactical organisation. The important thing was not that Manchester United became perfect, but that they began to look like a more structured collective. Early hype emerged quite quickly. as Manchester United started picking up wins in big matches, especially against strong opponents.
Saka inside the penalty area, clipped back into the box, chance for Erdogan, it's been turned home. Bumo presses, maybe an opportunity, mistake from Arsenal, and Bumo in behind, takes a touch, scores for Manchester United! Fernandes lifts it back to Patrick Dorgu, takes it with him, Dorgu's left-footed effort, oh, it's a screamer! Here comes the next corner into the box, up comes Senna Lommans, loose inside the penalty area, over the line is it, referee looks at his watch and says, Arsenal goal. Chance here for Cunha! Mateus Cunha!
Michael Carrick's been in charge about 14-15 days and he's put the spirit back into Man United. He's putting players in the right positions, they're playing with quality, they're playing with excitement. Kobbie Mainoo in the middle of the park, excellent. Bruno, excellent. Casemiro, superb. I think the job that he's done in the short term, Michael Carrick, has been outstanding.
What stood out was not how many games they won, but how they won them, without fully controlling the game, yet being extremely clinical in exploiting key moments. From there, a new belief began to form that Manchester United were no longer fragile in high-pressure matches. But alongside that, a period of doubt quickly emerged. Against low blocks and well-organised teams, Manchester United did not always look dominant. They had more possession and more control, but lacked sharpness in the final third. It was this lack of explosiveness that led many to question whether this was a team capable of sustaining a long title challenge. And then the clearest turning point came in the match against Chelsea. In an unfavourable context, with a depleted squad and being under pressure for most of the game, Carrick still maintained a disciplined defensive structure strong enough to hold firm. Manchester United did not need many chances, but they produced the decisive moment and capitalised on it to secure a 1-0 victory at Stamford Bridge. It was not a beautiful win, but it was a defining one. It was their first win there since 2020, and the script of the match went against almost every conventional logic. Chelsea took 20 shots while Manchester United had only 4, yet the only goal belonged to Mateus Cunha, following a decisive action from Bruno Fernandes, who continues to serve as the most important connecting point in the entire system.
It is Fernandes! This is his stage. Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes with yet another goal, and United have 5. Fernandes. He's done it again. Bruno, once more, brings the house down at Old Trafford.
This was not a random moment. It was a direct consequence of how Manchester United operate. They do not need many chances, but every chance comes at the right time, in the right space, and with the right player. And when you zoom out beyond a single match, this pattern becomes even clearer. In 2026, Manchester United have collected 28 points in the Premier League, more than any other team in the same period. At the same time, Bruno has recorded 18 assists, far ahead of the next player on the assist rankings, Ryan Cherky, with just 10. This has turned him into an almost absolute creative hub, where nearly every dangerous attacking move flows through him. All of this not only shows consistency, but also defines Manchester United under Carrick. This is a system that knows how to turn very few chances into 3 points. At this stage, under Michael Carrick, Manchester United are not built to control games in the traditional sense. They do not try to suffocate opponents through possession, nor do they constantly push high to press. Instead, they choose a different way to exist, maintain a compact structure, keep the tempo calm, and wait for the exact moment when the game begins to drift away from the opponent's patience. That is when they strike.
Into the penalty area, Bumo! Manchester United lead! Brilliantly worked! What a cross!
That is why matches like the one against Chelsea happen. United do not need much of the ball or many chances, yet they are still the ones who decide the outcome. Not because they create more, but because they understand exactly when to create. And when you place that into a bigger picture, it is no longer about isolated moments, but a repeatable pattern. A team that does not try to control everything, but always finds a way to control the decisive moments of the game. That is the identity taking shape. A pragmatic, structured Manchester United that is dangerous in a very quiet way. They do not overwhelm you, but they pull you into a game state you cannot escape. They do not need to be perfect, especially while they are still on the journey back to the Champions League, but they are becoming reliable in a way they have not been before. And if United's identity truly lies in controlling moments rather than controlling matches, then the next question is, how do they actually do it? The answer begins at the centre of the entire system, Bruno Fernandes. He is not just a simple playmaker, but the engine that dictates tempo and makes decisions for every attacking move. Whenever Bruno receives the ball in central areas, the entire opposition structure is forced to collapse inward to react. In those moments, United's system comes to life. Around him are satellites like Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo and Benjamin Šeško, players who do not need many touches but always move at the right time to exploit the space that has just been created.
Fernandes, a gorgeous finish, but what about the through ball from Fred? Arguably pass of the season, and a wonderful dink from Bruno Fernandes.
With the chance, and scores for Manchester United! What a start! After 60 seconds, Bryan Mbeumo strokes home for his third goal of the season! And after flicked on, turned home, Benjamin Šeško in back-to-back games finds himself on the end of it. Cunha strokes it home! And if you're not going to get a penalty, you might as well score one like that! Brilliant from the Brazilian!
United do not try to keep possession for too long. They draw opponents toward Bruno, open up space, then attack it directly with forward runs and quick transitions. Beneath all of this lies a less talked about weapon: the ability to win ugly, to win imperfect games, combined with trust in young players that prevents the system from collapsing under pressure. What makes this system dangerous is not just how it functions, but how opponents are forced to respond. When they double team Bruno, they leave gaps behind. When they drop deep, they give up proactive pressing. When they push high, the space in behind is immediately exploited. And most ironically, when they dominate possession, they fall into meaningless control, just like Chelsea in that recent match. Every option leads to a trade-off, and none of them are truly safe.
Bit of a smash and grab really from United, one shot on target, 0.3 XG, didn't really do much the whole game. Not that Chelsea was much better, by the way. I thought it was a very low quality game, despite the two clubs being big clubs obviously in the Premier League, but that's what we've seen all season long in the Premier League.
That is when United shift from being an uncomfortable opponent to a genuine threat, not because they do overly complex things, but because they place opponents into a problem with no optimal solution. Every tactical adjustment ends up activating another one of United's weapons. They do not need to force the game into their script. They only need to bend its flow until the opponent falls out of their original structure. All of this happens in very specific zones, the half spaces in the gap between midfield and defence. That is where Bruno receives the ball, where one-touch combinations begin, where perfectly timed through passes are played, and where third-man runs or diagonal movements create the difference. Within this system, Bruno is the trigger, Cunha is the finisher, Šeško acts as a decoy to stretch the defence, and Mbeumo becomes the secondary threat. Whether the opponent plays a low block or mid-block pressing, the logic remains the same. United do not need much of the ball, they just need one precise moment to break the entire structure. And when you put it all together, a very clear loop emerges. The way United operate creates a reaction. That reaction creates a weakness, and that weakness triggers another attacking solution. This process repeats itself until the opponent can no longer control the game. Everything about Manchester United looks highly logical, until they face teams that refuse to play by that logic. Because in big matches, when space opens up, when opponents push higher or try to control the game, Michael Carrick's United almost always find a way to punish them. But against weaker sides teams, willing to sit deep, disrupt the rhythm, and accept playing without the ball, that same system begins to reveal its limits.
Well, I'm just disappointed, to be honest, because Stevie's right. The way they finished the game was really good, but the way they started was so poor. You know, this is a Leeds side that just been to extra time just this past weekend, I believe, or not too long ago. So you can see that they have a soft centre. It's a Leeds side that aren't winning a ton of games. And this is a big game. You know, it might not be as clear and obvious as, say, the derby against Liverpool and so on, or against Man City. But with Leeds versus Man United, there's no love lost between the two sides. And Leeds started the game in dominant fashion, in front of 70,000 people, and that was very, very surprising to me.
The numbers reflect this clearly. Against lower table teams, United have taken around 14 out of a possible 33 points, with just 3 wins in 11 matches. Not because they are being dominated, but quite the opposite. They usually have more possession and more control, yet lack a sharp enough tool to break down low blocks and turn that advantage into goals. This is a structural bottleneck, when there is no space for Bruno to exploit, when diagonal runs have no room to develop, United are forced into a slower build-up phase, a state they have not truly mastered. Bruno Fernandes remains the focal point, but now he is facing compact defences with minimal space and multiple layers, significantly reducing his influence. The result is a team that controls games but not damage. They keep the ball but fail to create enough threat. And the longer matches stay in that state, the more likely they are to become stuck or drop point.
Michael has definitely got something special about him, because United have been crap last 4 games. Knight, Tonali, Love.
There cannot be any consideration that Michael takes the job beyond this season, for Michael and for the club.
I think if United win every game from now till the end of the season, I still wouldn't be giving him the job.
Yet this actually reveals the true nature of the team. United under Carrick are not a complete system. They are a system optimised for open games, still learning how to break locked ones. That explains why they can beat the strongest opponents, yet lack the consistency to turn must-win matches into 3 points regularly. So the question becomes inevitable. Can Carrick add the final piece to solve the low block problem? Or will this limitation hold United back, even as they return to the Champions League? If you only look at the surface, the issues are obvious. Manchester United do not yet have a fully complete attacking structure to break every type of opponent. They still rely heavily on Bruno Fernandes. When space is limited, they can fall into a state of control without penetration. But if you look a bit deeper, you will see that Carrick is not trying to solve everything at once. He is choosing something more fundamental and far more difficult. Carrick is teaching United how to win. Not to win in the most beautiful way, not to dominate every opponent, but to win across different game states, when space is available, when under pressure, and even when things become chaotic. It is about building a team that can survive in any context before learning how to dominate it. At a club like Manchester United, where the pressure demands perfection and attractive football, accepting ugly wins is actually an extremely difficult transition. But that is exactly why it becomes the most important foundation for any comeback. Carrick is not just pulling United out of chaos, he is teaching them something they had lost, the ability to win without needing to be beautiful. The story of Manchester United is far from finished. This is a system that knows how to survive, how to win decisive moments, yet still struggles when games are locked. What Carrick is building is only the foundation. A team that knows how not to lose before it becomes one that knows how to dominate. A collective that knows how to wait for the right moment before it can create one on its own. The issue is that they are standing right on that boundary. If Manchester United learn how to kill off smaller games, the ones where they have possession, control, but lack the decisive edge in the same way they have handled big matches, then this will no longer just be a top 5 contender. They will become a team capable of entering a true title race. But if they remain stuck at this point, where they can play well, build structure, but lack the cutting edge to finish games, then everything we are seeing now may only be the beginning. So the real question is this: is Michael Carrick building a Manchester United capable of returning to the top, or simply creating a more stable version of their old limitations? The answer will not come from the big matches, where United have already proven themselves. It will come from the smaller games, where they must prove they can finish the story, not just extend it. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.